Now, the question of the week, this one came from my guy, Drew Davis, who actually answered a question I had on Instagram. I said, what do y'all want to hear about player development? Now, I'm not going to make it into a full episode. Maybe I will a little later next year during the bowl games. I'm like, dang it, I missed the bowl game. But the question was like, what do you do during a bowl game? Like, how does player development work during a bowl game? And so wanted to break this down for you all here. So this is the last bowl game I was a part of. This was the All-State Sugar Bowl. When I was at Baylor, we won the conference championship and were able to play in this bowl. Unfortunately, I was not able to go to the bowl, as some of you all know from my experiences, but I kept this. So when I got this packet here, this is the first thing I did in a player development role. Now, this thing is ginormous. It has, actually like 80 pages, but there's a lot of stuff I'm not gonna go through. So when first thing I'm gonna do is go to the contents. And as you can see here are the contents for the 2022 All-State Sugar Bowl. And the first thing I did, you can see the star next to it, is I starred what I felt like immediately would help me in the role. There's a lot of other things I needed to know for the role myself and to help others, like operations, but the two biggest things I needed to know that helped me immediately were practice sites and mandatory appearances. Now, the practice sites on page 12, I'll tell you why that was really good for me to know in the role. Number one thing I think I always talk about that is overrated in this role and just in athletics in general is alumni engagement. How many former players live in New Orleans? How many former players that drive? I mean, Waco wasn't that far from New Orleans. How many will drive or come to the game? And so when I know the practice sites, if we already have a rule where we let alumni come to practices, I need to know where these sites are so I can send in an alumni newsletter, alumni text message, whatever it may be. And so at that point, we had a couple practice sites. So of course, the Superdome, New Orleans Saints Complex, Tulane University, and different places like that. And so I learned this at the University of Houston. We played our first game in the Las Vegas Bowl. We got to go to Bishop Gorman High School. And so players, you never know. As former players that live in the area around, hey, I want to come check out practice. All right, we'll be here. But you want to know the practice sites. You want to know the practice sites, not only for the former players, but even your current players. Their families are coming, different like that. Or they're going to ask you, where are we practicing? Especially in a place like, the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. They want to get into the Saints, see the Saints facility, whatever it may be. But knowing the practice sites is huge. It was also huge for me because I would look at where the hotel is and where the practice sites were. And I would kind of look at, how long would that bus ride be? What do guys need to do? How can we keep, guys, is it going to be a long bus ride? Is it going to be a short bus ride? Whatever it may be. But I'm looking at how do we do this? If I could, I'd go with equipment and check out the facilities. Where's the locker room? Where are they going to change? How can we do things? How can I help you all? But the practice sites was very, 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 very necessary in the role, I always felt like, for me. And then number 17, on page 17. So this is practice sites page. They give you information there. And then the last thing I always wanted to know was the mandatory appearances by the team. And so every bowl game, they have initiatives that they do already in the city, so you're going to do something. And shout out to Grace Muscarello. When I was at the University of Houston, she really helped me. When I was coming from a high school coach, she really helped me understand this aspect of bowl games. Like, guys got to be certain places. When we were in Vegas, we got to do some really, really cool things, like put fire detectors in people's homes and different stuff like that. So once again, shout out to Grace Muscarello for letting me know that when we were at the University of Houston. But looking here, right, the mandatory appearances, these are things that they have to be at. And so when I'm looking at it, right, and I'll show you all too what it looks like. So you see team, press conference, different things like that. I'm looking for that hospital visit, right? That hospital visit, it's a children's hospital. I'm already in, that is December 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, maybe possibly one of those days or all of those days. I'm looking at the players who like going to hospital. Some players don't like going to hospital. Some players want to go to hospital. So I'm telling them, like, yeah, they may want to get so-and-so who's All-American or so-and-so who's a captain, but if so-and-so is going to be uncomfortable there, it's not going to be a great thing. So I have a list, and I'll talk about this later throughout these podcasts. I have 4 areas of community impact, and I would ask my players, which ones do you want to do, right? So every player in the locker room had opportunity to impact the community in the way they felt the most comfortable. And so anyway, I'm looking at this, okay, hospital visit, but if we go over all of it, starting at the team welcome press conference, okay, team welcomes at the airport. Most likely, if there's a press conference, the captain's going to talk. So I'm talking to the captains like, hey, be prepared, to talk, different things like that. And shout out to our SID departments. They're doing that as well. They may ask me, I've been in places where they ask me, hey, can you text so-and-so, make sure they know. So I'm working with the SID departments there. And then going to hospital visit, there's a staff dinner, so that staff players will need to be there. Formal press conference, once again, work with the SIDs. They're probably gonna say, hey, Ed, can you let so-and-so know, or that communication normally already happens, and I'm just being that person to support what's already happened. And so that's some of the stuff, and these are required events right here, as some of you all say, for the head coach. But even with the head coach, I'm thinking about who would he want with him, who should go with him, like different things like that. So that's for the head coach. They have required events for the coordinators, which is different. There's required events for the president. So yeah, the president has a president's dinner, field introduction, all that stuff. But the president's dinner, you don't know. Maybe the president wants a player or two there or someone on staff. So you just keep your eyes up on that. Then there's required events for the athletic director. Once again, that could be a dinner, a gala, or something they may want. Maybe not the night. If it's the gala is the night before the game, then no. But there may be something the athletic director wants a player at. Maybe there's a pep rally, or maybe because every bowl I went to, we were there for 6 days. Maybe there's a pep rally, or maybe there's the New Orleans club of whatever your university is, and they want to see a player. The athletic director wants a player to come. So kind of getting that stuff on my radar. Once again, is it going to happen? We don't know, but definitely want that on my radar. And then they have stuff here, required events for band and cheerleaders. So it's like, all right, if band and cheerleaders going to be there, if it's a pep rally, we know the parade, we probably won't be there if it's the night before the game, different things. But you're looking for pep rallies, events, different things like that, that you want to make sure that you understand all the required appearances. Now, even in the required appearances, there are some that you would like to have. So, hey, here are some appearances that, can you make this happen? Would this be good for the guys? And then some of these guys, right, when I was at the University of Houston, let's say we played in Sugar Bowl, we had like 10 to 15 guys that are either, actually a little more. We had 10 to 15, maybe 20 guys, 10 to 20 guys that were either from New Orleans or had a connection in New Orleans who had moved to Houston and had family in Houston. And so you want to make sure, hey, maybe there's something that they know that they want to do. And if it's okay with the head coach, you get some time to get that community impact done as well. And so that's what a bowl game looks like from that standpoint. Now, during the bowl game, you definitely want to know the curfews. The head coach can give you curfews. You want to know those. You always, when I talked about this before in my first tip of the week, which you can find in this tips playlist or below or somewhere on this page. I don't know if they gave me enough cards, but ran out. But you always want to I always had a laminated roster on me, because you're just check who's on the bus, who's here, because you're in a different city, right? Who's on the bus? Who's here? It's so-and-so at dinner. Did so-and-so come here? So you're just checking. So I always kept like in my back pocket, like the coaches wear it a little, like it was just like this, right? And I always kept it on me so I could know what's going on, who's where they need to be. So you're always checking. There's a lot of opportunity for them to, we give them a chance to go out, right? And you just want to make sure that they understand the expectation, especially in cities like the bowl games I've been to. We had a bowl game in Las Vegas. I've been fortunate to go to a bowl game in Hawaii. We had a bowl game in Fort Worth, and then a place like New Orleans. It was like that. You got to make sure they know what's expected. And so, once again, that was how I looked at it. Going into the bowl game, whenever I got a bowl manual, I was looking for my other ones. This is the only one I could find. As I mentioned a little earlier, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to this bowl game because I was let go before the bowl game. But anyway, I kept this, and that's how I looked at it when I went through it. And so, yeah. Those are different things you want to know. Hospitality, you need to know what a hospitality suite is. Child care. I know other things too, because coach is going to always ask you. Like ops is going to let them know. Shout out to all my ops teams. Ops or somebody in chief of staff, they're going to let coaches know, but coach is going to go to who they're most comfortable with. And in a lot of cases, it was me. And then you just need to know, coaches just sometimes they be on their phone recruiting. So they may say, hey, where was this? I know so-and-so said it, but where is it? So shout out to everybody. It's a group project in a sense. So during bowl games, the people on speed dial were director of operations, dietitians, strength staff, sports med, SID, athletic director over your sport. Like we're all on speed dial, just making sure this is not only a great experience for the players, but that we get everybody focused so we can get the dub. And so thank you, Drew, for that question. And that is what a bowl game is like. It's pretty interesting. I'll leave this too. One thing we did in Hawaii, in Vegas, when you have a team and the time zone's different than you normally are from, they believe they're getting a chance to be out later than they normally are, but they don't realize their body is actually going back to sleep on this normal schedule. So that's pretty cool. We kind of could play those psychological games on curfew to make them think, yeah, we get to be out till, whatever. And it's like, actually, your body's used to Houston time when I had those bowl games there. But thank you so much for checking out this podcast.